Good afternoon. It's 1:35 p.m. Eastern Time, and thought I'd do a review slash midday update. I'm done for the day, but wanted to look at how it started and how it's going, and might even throw a little trading psychology perspective in there as well, based on what happened this morning for myself. And anyway, so looking at the daily chart, one thing I want to point out. Okay, this is regular trading hours. I've been saying the last couple of videos that we were up in here with a little doji yesterday, and that's considered pretty much holiday trade, overnight trade, and I merged it all together. Okay, for coming in today, considering it low volume, pretty much the drifting higher, same as it was Sunday night, then Monday night, and then or Monday morning, and then last night. Okay, I talked about it possibly being a bear flag. And I've got some stories that I put together for what might happen today and talk about that in a second. But one thing that I had been bearing in mind, a data point, is that we had this nice little trend line here. And I said, that we got this 1618 that had not been touched yet. And the trend line was beckoning for a third touch. Let me now the 168, almost exactly, right? And in fact, I want to see. Let's see. This is how my videos get too long. But, from anything, I'm thorough. Let's see here. Show price. Let's see what it says. Okay, that's 38.89 even. And what is the low of the day? Let's see here. Low of the day is 38.8675. So it came within 2.25 points of that. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2.25 points of that. Rock and roll, right? So that's a ring in the bell in my book. Okay, so looking at it, this was the destination, and let's move on to the profiles. Okay, and also the stories. Talk about what happened. All right, so I might touch on the psychology first. All right, in the pre-market video I did trading the plans, I put together. I don't know why this has moved a little bit. I put together all the profiles, the composite from Sunday night, Monday morning, holiday trade, and last night. Okay, and this is the image we had of a potential bear flag here, right? Talked about that, and that's kind of what happened. By the time I started the video, now when I made the video, we were trading in range and value, right around in here somewhere. When we open below value, but in range. Well, that's different. That's a change. So coming, and this is something else to carry forward. Coming into the ES, we think of the open starting at 9:30 Eastern on the dot, 8:30 Central on the dot. Stuff starts happening before that. That's significant very often on some days. Now this was after a holiday weekend. I haven't really studied it out. Maybe that's the case. We had a 3-day weekend, and coming in, things are getting going. People are ready to get the week started. Their vacations behind them. I don't know. I don't know the dynamics of it, but all I can tell you is that this period right here, let me split it off for a second. This period right here wasn't insignificant. It made a big change in where we're opening. And it also, this period right here, took out all of these lows. All the way down to, well, not quite that one. Okay, and we opened just back above here. Make this bigger. I know sometimes maybe you get frustrated because you can't see my letters, for those couple of people that haven't seemed to be watching this, and I appreciate that. And please make comment. Please hit the like button. That helps me a lot, just to know somebody's paying attention, and this is a value to someone, because I do it for me. It's a good exercise, and but to know somebody else is getting something out of it is important. Now this VPOC, I'm going to take. This was the. Looks like the VPOC moved up at some point because I didn't have that. So yeah, there's a lot of changes. That's all the way up here. No, wait, I know what happened. I just split this off, so that may have made a difference. Let me undo it. Undo split. Yeah, now we're back in place. Okay. So we open down here, and the stories, that's what I want to get to here. Story number one was the open in range, in value, balance within value area. Okay, we were outside of the value area, so this changed, right? And the strategy was to buy value area low, sell value area high. Well, how can you buy the value area low if you're opening below it, unless you come in and buy it when it pulls back? Okay, We want to mix market internals, slow tempo, build value in the value area first, a later move to the value area higher, value area low. All right, well, I don't have the little drawing tool here, but we didn't get a later move in any which way. It happened right away. The market internals were slightly positive. I would call them mixed. The tempo was mid, I'd say. It was a little bit choppy, and we didn't build a lot of value. You can see, I'm going to split this off here. There's a reason I'm doing this. It's important to take this one step at a time, okay? Value was pretty thin up in here, and you know, it'd be hard to, and it thinned out right up here, okay? But one thing I've noticed, a lot of times I've talked about building value below or above a value area high or low. Notice how there's like a shelf right here, and it's thicker, okay? Well, when we came back and came back through the open, and we got a swift move down, that's hence the thin volume at some point, going for the close, for the settle. So we didn't have a high confidence open. And one thing I failed to mention or notice all these anomalies in the overnight. The anomalies very often, and this is in, notice this is in that X period. The anomalies are an indication of indecision and lack of confidence, okay? So they're very often revisited, usually in the same session, or a lot of times in the same session. And to expect continuation in this with mixed market internals, and you know, it was losing proposition, and I don't recall taking a long in here or anything like that. I don't remember. I'm going to tell you what I did, because and this is where the trading psychology thing comes into play. Okay, first of all, it wasn't even until now, looking back, I realized I wasn't even thinking about it at the time. We opened below value. I don't recall putting enough emphasis on that, and I had some problems. So this is the chart book I use to make these prep videos, but my trading chart book, I could not get the profiles to merge to the left. I don't know what's wrong. I may have to rebuild the chart. Every once in a while that happens, but it happened just before, right at the open. And the way I am when I've got a technical problem like that, I just get laser focused and I start trying to sort it out. And you want your charts working, right? And I wanted to see it merge together. And I started thinking, well, maybe there's a higher power at work here, and I'm supposed to be looking at it, the two of them split apart. So I just went with that because I realized this is completely getting me distracted. The market, a lot of key information on how it trades in the first 5 to 10 minutes. All right, so I kind of didn't put enough emphasis on the fact we opened below the value area. All right, so this story really wasn't that good. But this one was. Story 2 is what played out for the next hour. And here's where the trading psychology thing comes in. I completely abandoned my plans. Story 2 would have been a winner all day long. Not all day long, but it would have been a winner in anyone's book because we rejected the prior day's value area. See? It thinned out up here and came right back out. We developed value overlapping to lower. And once we came back through the open, we had a double distribution now below the close. And it was building value, right? And it also was coming down to the this value area low, the settlement. And not only that, once it moved down past the overnight value area low, we got another distribution where it's building value. Now at each one of these junctures, I'm not sure, is it kind of bottoming out? Is it building? Is it accumulating and it's going to go back up? Or is it distributing? But the plan was, if we had, another thing, by the way, I always say, or I have been saying since I've been doing these videos for the last couple weeks, any one of these data points or these conditions is not necessary in and of itself, right? And I was putting a little too much emphasis on the market internals. Okay, so you wanted negative market internals of selling and high confidence open. Well, we didn't have a high confidence open. By the time it got down this way, it was going negative, and it can go either way at the start of the day. Sometimes it's just right out of the gate, super high positive or super high negative. But if it's mixed, watch out because you could be looking for a change and it can ramp up pretty quickly. And it's another significant thing that it went from positive to negative. So it went to negative, so that was okay to sell. But I was a little bit, the lack of a confidence opening to the downside. In fact, it was almost open drive to the upside. Kind of got me a little mixed up, So what what that means is, and it wasn't very negative, I was buying into this. So I bought into this, and I got, I actually had a little success, but that was also a trade I won on some of it and lost on the other part of it. So it was a little too choppy. Anyway, but the idea was the strategy was to get short with the move that takes out the lower references. Reject the prior day's value area, happened, check. In fact, we had an indication it would happen in the open. And value develops overlapping to lower. That's kind of where we are still. And see, here's the value. The gray is the value area, and it's overlapping to lower. And B period, let me merge these, let me split this off here. That's going to be a bit longer video. Open drive. And then we took out the overnight low, okay? So what was the idea? Take out the lower references, get short with the move. So there's targets below. There's the next low, and then if you look over here, there's another low over here, right? That was a target. So if you take out this one, odds are pretty good we'll take out this one. And then what's down below? Well, we had single prints or something back here, and I scrolled back to this day, I believe it was the 19th, and it was a day that was one-time framing up right out of the gate, and there was a lot of room to take back some long liquidation. And then I had a zone down here that I've talked about before. It's a Fibonacci zone. I was a little surprised we didn't get all the way down to the S2 and this single prints here, but remember we had a trend line, okay? And on a daily, and this was an area I actually I redeemed myself. Okay, so I had a couple places here where I got long, proverbially catching the falling knife, right? And it worked a little bit, but I've been lately trying to go for bigger moves. And if I've been going for just a point or 2 points, a lot of time I probably would have done okay, but still felt kind of like lucky. But one of the things that's working for me is the experience of knowing that many times, just because we have this big push down, it's like I said earlier in the pre-market video, we have an initial direction and then a second direction. We have the two-step, and we had the two-step shuffle today as well so far. Okay, well, let me see what's going on right now. Okay, anyway, and I was aware of that, and I also was looking for this rubber band effect. And the way it started behaving down here, okay, I got long at 94 twice. I got stopped out the first time, and then I liked it still, because that can happen. My stop was too close, and I mean, that's just what happens. And you have to say, all right, is it still worth it? Yes, it was worth it, because I took that up quite a ways. All right, and that made up for everything. Now, I'd like to say I was very profitable for the day, but I had like I think three stop outs on the way down there, and then another one there, and then another one. I think it took 4 or 5 trades, but either way, my last one was quite the winner, right? So B period returned up here, C period opened up here, came down, and C period came all the way back up to the value area, right? And then there you go. So that could have been, if you didn't get this short and you got long down there, that made up for all of it. So back to the stories, how this played out. Now back to the psychology part first. I didn't trade my plan. I planned my trade. I didn't trade my plan, and I also didn't adapt. You got to adapt. Just like if you're in an airplane and you plan to fly this direction or that direction, and at this altitude, you start getting visibility issues and wind gusts and all that kind of stuff. You need to make adjustments, and that's what was going on. And I failed to adjust. I actually just kept trying to do the plan that I was liking from the start, and I fell into the trap, which is, I guess it's called a what's the words I'm looking for here? Just a tendency to be a bit contrarian and say, all right, that's where it's going to turn around. Looking for a reversal when I haven't really let it play out. It's harder to do reversals in the first hour for sure. All right, so story 2 was fantastic. Story 3, continuation of yesterday's move up. That's not in play even yet. This was sort of in play. Okay, rotate below yesterday's IB and above recent lows. Well, we took out the recent lows. Okay, the thing is, I can't account for every combination here, but there's something important about story 4 I want to talk about. Find today's range and responsively buy and sell. All right, well, I responsively bought down here because it had already, now I didn't buy down here on the lows. I bought up here after it rejected out of here. So that's, again, well, the first time I bought it, I think it stopped like right on the green edge here. This is basically a pivot point. And started to kind of trade around, and I was looking for a long, I got long, and I got run over, all right? But when it came back out, there's a pretty good buying tail. And it found a little bit of, that congestion and that support in here. I got long again. I got long on a retracement, so on a reversion, all right? And there you go. And I was back feeling good again. And not feeling shouldn't enter into it, but you know what I mean. After you've gotten punched in the face a few times, and then you land a good one, you feel pretty good about it. Okay, so find today's range responsively buy or sell. Now the conditions were market internals being mixed, and they were. The daytime frame is in control, and they definitely seem to be. A slow tempo, well, it was, I don't know. That one was not really, that was kind of hard to gauge this morning because there was a lot of stutter stops, okay? References respected, and they were. Now they were blown through, but they'd always snag up on them, right? They'd hit them and back up. They didn't always just blast right through them. But here's the main thing I want to point out on the story 4. Now, I've not mentioned this in any of my pre-market videos that I've done in the last, I don't know, 3 weeks I've been doing them maybe? I don't know. I mean, I did them years before. I haven't done them in ages. Possible containment in the IB. All right? So remember that. Possible containment in the initial balance. And we're in story 4 right now, okay? So what I'm looking at here, let me undo these splits, all right? Okay. I want to talk about first, rotate below the IB of, hang on, let me read that again. Rotate below yesterday's initial balance and above recent lows. Now, when I said yesterday, I was talking about Friday, and the thing I want to mention about that is that the initial balance for that is way up here. So I kind of misspoke. I don't think I meant the initial balance because I knew this was a very small, wait a minute, hang on a minute. Maybe it wasn't that small. Yeah, I mean, relative to where we went during the day, that was way up there. That's not what I meant. I really meant below this 39.55. I don't know why I wrote IB. But anyway, that's what I meant is this area because I talked about that in the video as well. This 39.55, and this is a value area. If I split off at the H where it broke below here, if I split that TPO off and make a new profile, that becomes the value area high. And I drew that in my little video from earlier. And that's what we've done. So again, I want to pull this in. So these were happening, right? Rotating below yesterday's IB and above recent lows. We took out those, and this yesterday's IB meant 39.55. I'm sorry. I really like to do these earlier, and that way I can like sort of either redo them or review them or make corrections or whatever. It's really difficult to do these and share them and be accurate all the time because I'm kind of doing them coming into at the earliest like a half an hour before the open. Sometimes I've done them earlier, but so many things can happen between then and the open. Even right into after I'd done the video, we weren't opening in range and value anymore. But anyway, the main thing about this is possible containment and the initial balance. So look at the initial balance. The initial balance is A and B period. Okay, D period is up here to the overnight VPOC that I identified right here. And it's rotated back down past yesterday's low, back down to this fib area, and it looks like we just put in a little intraday poor low. I'd like to see a fib retracement on this and see what this is. Okay, that might be instructive from this high here. So let me see here. If you're not into Fibonacci, okay, 78. Yeah, nope, it's not exact at all. So anyway, right now we're rotating. Are we going to go lower? There's a lot of room to go lower. We didn't take back all of that. I think the July 19th of that range. I know where you see a pink line down here, these are poor lows. And one of the things that I've talked about is that we have conflicting data points, poor highs above and poor lows below. So there's that. But we are pretty well done the news for the day, bar some other thing happening and bar somebody stepping in and actually deciding we've got to change, because look, we've got value now is overlapping to lower, but mostly lower. We're trading now below prior low of the day, and look at all this volume built up here. Now I want to split it off from I'm going to split it from, let's see here. Where's my pointer? Okay. I'm going to split it from D period, because I don't want to count the C period where it just came back, and you know, I don't want to count all that. I want to see what it looks like without, I guess I got to pull this down and be right on it. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. That's what I meant to do. All right, so this is important information. Okay. Now, if we look at the way we're trading here, we've got, this has been mostly back to the downside, okay? Since F period, G period, H period to the downside. Okay, let me open this up. One time framing lower, it looks like, okay? We got a double distribution here between G and I, okay? And look at all this volume now is building below yesterday's low. Does this bode well for the downside? Possibly, but we have a pretty good buying tail. I guess anything can happen. You got to take it one piece at a time. But the plan was to trade responsibly in here, and unless you have, if you've got smaller time frame indicators and things like that are telling you to sell up at the prior low a day or something like that, then maybe it's worth it. Or maybe you want to trade responsibly in this volume profile. That's a possibility. But I would look for range extension possibly later today. You know, personality change. Right now would seem to indicate that it would be to the downside, but that may not be the case at all. They may be just accumulating positions, and then it roll it on up, and we get one of those days where it's like a big all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down, and then all the way back up and out, you know, because there's a lot of room to go to the upside here. All right, well, that's a lot of saying a lot and maybe saying nothing towards the end there, because it's basically saying anything can happen, and as it always does, it's either going to go up, down, or sideways, as I like to say. But we're below the overnight low. We're below the prior low of the day. So, you know, I would look at we're in 2 minutes, we got a new TPO, and it's opening pretty high up in this I, if it stays up here in this I TPO. I don't like this HI low, but it doesn't mean it won't hold, and I want to put it back together, and let's look for anomalies here today. So we got an anomaly in I, so we got a bit of indecision. There's a good chance that we actually continue up. We got G. This is a bit anomalous, right around the overnight value area low for the composite here. You know, it's not the healthiest of auctions, but it's not terrible. It's a D-shaped auction. It's contained within the IB, and I would look at a reference in here to get long if you believe it's going to rotate back higher, or if you think things are building to the downside, and go with value and the volume down here. You know, it's worth the shot. I mean, if you were to get short, where would you put your stop? Well, the most visible place would be back up here inside this balance, or back up on the other side of this little volume area, or this little volume area. Those are some places. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm just thinking it through here. The way it's popping now, it's almost look like it's starting to cover a lot of these shorts from the last, you know, coming into the lunch hour and all that, or over the lunch hour. So I don't know. I'm favoring the long side myself, but we'll see what happens. But I'm out. I'm done. I just wanted to come back and talk about what happened today. Again, we're contained within the initial balance and rotating, but we'll see what happened. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.